for a show that I believe only has 10 episodes in it. The 7th show is a filler episode, which seems a little bit odd. But it's a filler episode that gives the fans of The Next Generation some of what they would have liked, which is seeing where are they now type details. And you get that pretty much in spades here, more or less, with Riker and Troy showing up. Well, Picard and Soji, turns out where they transported to from the Borg cube in last episode was to this planet, Nepenthe, based on the memory loss drug from the Odyssey or whatever in Greek myth or something. Anyway, but they don't really forget anything. They remember everything. It's a reunion or something, so whatever. I don't know. Well, I guess because Soji doesn't know who she is, but that's only because her memories are fake and she's only about 3 years old. But, what are you going to do? So they encounter Will and Deanna's daughter, I believe, because it should have been. I keep thinking I didn't get. Maybe I should rewatch it. But she does call them mom and dad, so I was thinking, oh, is she the granddaughter? Because she's rather young to be their child. So, boy, did they wait late in life to have kids, huh? But the sad part of it is that they had a son. And he's no longer with them. He passed away. He had some sort of bizarre futuristic disease, and the only cure could have been possible, but it required synthetic positonic brains or whatever, and there weren't any because of the ban on synthetic life forms, so their son died. And so that's a bit of a grief for this little family. But you get the reunion between the three with Picard and all that. And, there's a scene where Riker figures out the whole plot just by seeing the girl tilt her head and realize that she must be Data's daughter. They deliver it okay, but still, it's like, come on. So, anyway, there's some okay back and forth there, but it's just more evidence of the series doesn't have a whole lot of material, and they got to stretch it out. So it's like it's a streaming service. He probably could have whittled it down to 8 episodes, maybe. I don't know. There's a little bit of action, but it's just the ridiculous business of Elf Ron or Elf Nor doing his sword stuff and with fighting off a bunch of Romulans with phasers or disruptors or what have you. Fortunately, they can't aim. Narek's creepy sister can't aim her disruptor either, but she can aim her little throwing dagger or dart or whatever it was and kills Hugh. So Hugh's dead. Elf Nor was too busy showing off all his moves to protect him. So he dies, but he tells Elf Nor that he has to find, or he has to go back to the Borg Queen's secret chamber, but he's going to need an ex-Borg guy to get in. And while he's still on the run within the Borg cube, this little, key shows up. He just happens to find it. So maybe he doesn't need a Borg guy after all. I don't know. Meanwhile, there's a chase throughout space between Narek and Rios' ship. And no matter where they warp to, he can still find them. Sounds reminiscent of a plot from a certain sci-fi franchise movie that didn't do so well. But anyway, this is going on. But how are they able to find him? Well, we get a flashback that when Agnes met with the Commodore, she gave her a device so they can track her with, so she swallowed it, or she had to chew it, so it's all in her, these nanobot things. And so they can track her. And she's starting to feel the pangs of guilt. And her conscience is caught up with her. And she's trying to tell them, let's just give up on this and go home, because she knows they can track them and all that. And it's making her so sick that she throws up and all this stuff. She didn't have this type of pangs of guilt when she murdered her boyfriend. And apparently she got a vision of the future or what have you from the threat of synthetic life forms from the Commodore, who gave her the Vulcan mind meld and showed her the apocalypse would happen if these daughters of Data were allowed to succeed and whatever. So she threw up then too. So she's throwing up a lot in this show. But I got to admit, her nervous breakdown and whatnot is a much better characterization for her than her trying to be the funny girl, which was just really nauseating enough to make me want to throw up. So I guess we just got to put up with her throwing up. Anyway, in order to sabotage the plans here, she has to get rid of the tracking device. So she injects herself with some anti-nanobot technology or what have you. But unfortunately, it's very risky to do so, and so she goes into a coma. So there you go. That's her story, and it's still better than having her become the funny girl. So let's keep going with that. So Narek loses his signal from Rios' ship. He can't find him. So now Rios can make contact with Picard. And after he's had pizza with Riker and Troy and their daughter Kestra, and Kestra and Soji get along as best buds. And it's all great, even though they're only there for a couple of hours. And in the morning, we're going to beam away. So, but Kestra's all about Soji, and helps Soji come to terms with realizing she's an android. And so she's all upset about it at first, but now she's ready to get answers. And so there you go. But we also have to have the template of Star Trek Picard, in which Picard has to get his balls kicked in by a woman. Yes, this time, of course, Soji knocks him around, and then Counselor Troy lectures him. So there you go. Check that off the list. We'll see who lectures him next week. Maybe even the crazy, creepy Romulan sister will lecture him as well at some point. But there you go. But a lot of this is, the show has gone to great pains to avoid being a sequel to Next Generation, which was a mistake for it. It's not an episodic series, which is just as well, because basically the plot of this entire season would probably be done in one episode. And it's very obvious they don't have the material. And so it looks for ways to just sort of drag it out. And that's what they do. And the hopes that, you enjoy the reunion enough to not notice that. And the reunion has its moments that's really good, and it makes sense and whatnot, considering where they are, but it's not going anywhere. There's no real story. It's just like, hey, where are they now? Well, there they are. So at least Riker and Troy were not killed off like so many others from Next Generation's past. So unless, of course, there's 3 more episodes to go, so who knows? And apparently in the teaser, 7 of 9 will make yet another appearance. Hopefully it's another full episode and not just a cameo or something. It stands to reason that she would be involved in it because it's all this Borg stuff. So she should have been a regular cast member and a member of the crew. But, got fished in on that one. But it's just as well because she's not the same character anymore. And now she's all violent and nihilistic and everything. What happened, So anyway, so you get to see Riker and Troy, and that's nice, but that's about it. It's still not really Star Trek. I don't know why they'd even bother doing the 3rd season of Star Trek Discovery, where it's in the distant future and there's no Federation and all that. Well, it's pretty much gone already. So, yeah, why bother, Anyway, there you go. Star Trek Picard. We'll just call it episode 7. Thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe? Check out that link description below. That'll take you to my many stores that have plenty of goodies for you. Most notably, my comic book Night Night over at IndiePlanet.com. And you can catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute. That's the Mr Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.